The only thing we could think of was safe houses. And we knew that that's not the best way. There are certainly a lot of problems connected with safe houses. But it's better than not having any place. I brought this up, this woman's plight, at our meeting, and several of the women agreed that they would open their homes. We went to the Paducah Police Department and McCracken County Sheriff's Department. They may not have been really open, but they were glad to have somebody, because as it was, they found a woman and her children in a car, or without a car, which is even worse, trying to hide from their abuser behind the flood wall or somewhere. They had no place to take her. Zilch, no place. They couldn't put her in jail, or they shouldn't. She hadn't done anything wrong. That's how we started. We operated sort of like a club. I was the president, and we did things we had the usual rules and regulations, and we went by Robert's Rules of Order. One night we decided on a name for ourselves. We named ourselves Women Aware. Later, we incorporated under that name, but the first board I formed was Jack Berry Johnson, who was a licensed social worker, Dr. Ron Kelly, who's back on the board after 50 years, and Dr. Harold Clark, a veterinarian, and I needed a Methodist matron. And all these people were friends of mine, Doris Elrod. I told each one of them, if you'll let me put your name on letterhead and agree to be on the board, you won't have to do anything. Suckers. I worked them to death. We met in Ron's office, usually twice a month. But we did a lot of good work, and we added some more board members pretty quickly. Then we got our first grant. It was not real big. It was from a law agency, a federal law agency that's no longer in existence. But boy, I advertised and interviewed, and we had this young woman who was from Metropolis, Illinois, Lynn Patton, and she was the one, the committee we picked. So she carried I think we called it a walkie-talkie, I don't know, some kind of advice, 24/7. And sometimes they would tell me after the fact what rescue she had participated in, and it would give me cold chills. In a year, she got married and went to Ohio. So we had to do the same thing over again. We advertised for a director again, interviewed, and I hired Julia Cash. She was a wonderful director. I think I made a real good choice. We came so close to dying during her tenure. We were defunded. I don't remember the particulars, but all of a sudden we didn't have any money from Frankfurt. We had some other money, but our main money we didn't have. The money that we depend on so much now from Frankfurt, we didn't have it. And so the grapevine, all the other agencies thought we were cooked, we were done. They stopped referring to us. Julia worked for 3 months without salary and kept us afloat. It was a little bit after that the board voted to buy the facility across the street here in Burr Road, the old Higdon place. Since I told you we could spend all the money we thought we could afford from our budget for rent, but we couldn't buy anything, how in the world were we ever going to buy anything? I went out and formed another corporation. Nothing to do with this one. Not the same board members, nothing. Actually, I went to the Plumbers and Steamfitters Union. They were the strongest union here at that time. They still are. But at that time, their BA, their business agent, was Larry Sanderson. But I went to the plumbers and steam fitters and told Larry what I had in mind. And they had lots of money, and it was at Citizens Bank Building. My offices were in Citizens Bank Building. So I formed a corporation called Purchase Holding, and the papers were that we would pay them so much every month, and at the end of 30 years, they would treat it as though we had bought it. We had it set up where it was all legal, but we paid it off in a record short period of time. In 2001, I brought, as a separate thing, I brought the vagina monologues to Paducah, which was really a scandal. I mean, it really was. But we got our wealthy supporters starting then. The Vagina Monologues was a big event in our history. I wanted to mention Susan Griffin and Liz Hack, who came down from Louisville and helped us on our capital campaign. I'll be forever grateful to them and their skills at finding money and helping us get people to part with it and give it to us. And then the boards that we've had the last several years, we've always had good boards, always. The donors, our community support. Paducah is a really, really giving community. If you ever ask the computer for a printout of all the 501c3 organizations in Paducah, almost all the needs seem to be being met, but there's still too much homelessness. And of course, any domestic violence center works in that arena. Lots of times there are people who drop through the cracks, particularly wives, girlfriends, baby mamas. There isn't a place just for them. There's nobody meeting that need.